Okay, welcome everybody with a new episode from Real Estate IQ, and we're gonna be having AJ coming on board on stage very soon. We'll introduce AJ, and we're gonna ask him all kinds of questions about real estate investing and how you're able to win deals. Now, before that, I want to just give a quick introduction of the host organization. This event is brought to you by Real Estate IQ, and we really believe in adding, a couple of foundational solutions for real estate investors. The three things that we see is number one is just continuous education. Right, we can never learn enough and know enough. There's always new things happening in the real estate world, and also new trends. In addition to, there's always new issues, new problems, right? There's so many different cases when it comes to real estate investing. So continuous education, we really firmly believe in that. Having the data solution to give us the intelligence we need to do our marketing and also find deals. And then the last but not least is having a community where we can tap into the collective brain power and the brain trust, so we know how to deal with different kinds of situations. I may not have the answer to the problem you're encountering, but maybe somebody else like AJ does. So next, we're gonna jump right into it. Let me give a quick introduction on AJ. AJ is a former firefighter-paramedic from Southern California, and he is now a full-time real estate investor. And this is a very interesting tidbit about AJ I didn't know. He began his journey with a live-in flip, which is a full down to studs remodel while he was still working a 24-hour shift. And then he started building a multi-state operation. I think AJ has mentioned to me how he was doing flips remotely and some of the lessons that he has learned. So I'm very interested in learning a little more about that. He's done a lot of different type of strategies now, like wholesaling, fix and flip, novations, short-term rental, creative finance, and private lending. So all kinds of different ways you can play in real estate. And this is your chance to ask your questions. And welcome, AJ.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for that little intro.
Yeah, your audio, it sounds like you're kind of far away. Is there a way you can adjust that so our audience can hear better?
Let me see something. Give me 1 sec. I'm gonna get my headset. I'm gonna look a little goofy on here with my travel set.
There is a little bit of echo, but I can hear you better now. So maybe it was me. So while we are waiting on AJ to plug in some audio, a couple of things I have been learning from AJ is the lead generation type of tools. He has tried all kinds of tools and software that you need for lead generation in real estate investments. So I think those are really good questions that we can kind of dive into. What are the practical things? We can talk about investments all day long. We can talk about motivate sellers all day long, but how do you actually make contact, right? What are some of the tools that you can use to really put the rubber on the road and execute that? So those are the things we want to dive into.
Can you guys hear me a little better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
That better? Do I have a really loud echo where I am?
No more echoes.
Okay.
I appreciate that. So AJ, tell us about your story. Why real estate investments when you were a firefighter?
Oh man. Okay. So little backstory. I'm married. I have a 2-year-old daughter. I was with my wife since I was 14 years old, and I was a freshman. She was a senior. I was screwing around in high school. So she graduated and was starting to do the college thing. And I was playing baseball, like hanging out with my friends, but I knew I had to do something productive with my life when the day come to graduate. So I actually just went across the street to a fire station to do like a senior project. I was like, oh man, these guys are cool. I could do this. Making 6 figures, like you get there, you bust your butt, and then you made it, right? Well, I did all the work, you know, sleepless nights in the ambulance, medic school, fire academy, ended up getting hired. And a light bulb moment went off when I got hired and I was on probation and saw that all the guys that talked about how great this career was, which don't get me wrong, it's great. But they're all living in condos or townhouses. This is Southern California, so everything's really expensive. So no one can really afford a home. Everybody's working overtime to get by. And I was like, dang, I literally busted my butt to get here. I love the culture, love the job, but we go to work to be able to provide for family. At least that's what I do. So I was working overtime. I'm like, man, there's got to be another way. I'm going through W-2 or paperwork for my mom, who was settling some stuff for my grandpa's estate, who had recently passed away. And I went through the W-2 for the year he died, and he had been retired for a decade, and his income was $2 million. I was like, okay, what is he doing? You know, growing up, I was always the kid going, you know, we did things ourselves in our house. Like I would go work on the rental properties. I'm switching out outlets and stuff at 12, 13 years old so I can save up money to buy a skateboard. So I started asking questions, and, you know, real estate was the answer. I went down the bigger pockets rabbit hole and ended up getting into some deals, bought a flip in Baltimore City. At the same time, I'm like, okay, if we're saving up to buy a house ourselves, I'm going to get into something that I can at least force appreciation to and get out of it. So, I mean, that's what we did all in the same time. I started doing SMS texting from the fire station, trying to learn how to wholesale at the same time.
Wow. And how long ago was this?
That was in 2018. 2018. Yeah.
I personally have met a firefighter who, just because kind of your schedule is very compacted, right? So there is actually that off days where you can do a side hustle or like a different type of income generating activity. And this gentleman I spoke with, he flips cars.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he flips cars. And I think he was looking into real estate investment at the time too.
Hey, it's a similar model. Buy something that doesn't look good and make it look good and sell it for more than you bought it.
So when you were working full time and before you made the jump, you're not like doing marketing very consistently, I would imagine.
No, I wasn't. So as far as like we mentioned, a live and flip, that was kind of like the catalyst to build my own capital, because I bought a house that was total hoarder. It was a rental property, super dilapidated. I mean, we had to cut drywall out just to get rid of the smell, stain the carpet or stain the concrete because it smelled so bad from animals. But, you know, the fireman culture was like, and growing up was, you know, you do it yourself, right? I'm not gonna pay someone. I'm going to save that money. Like that's the mindset. I'm going to save money and sacrifice my time to do this. And that's such a wrong mindset, but that's the culture I was in. So bought this house, bought it for $650, ended up putting like $150 into it, literally like demoed it down to the studs. I paid plumbers to repipe it, but I rewired it myself. I did pretty much everything: kitchen install, bathrooms, flooring, everything. That now will appraise for 1.3, and we still own this property.
And that's a pretty high price range. That's because you're in California, right?
Yeah, that is a good point. Yes, that is because it's in California, it's the higher price point. And luckily, we're about to exit California, but this is going to be a great rental property. Mortgage on PITI is about $3,400 a month on
Mm,
this residence, and we're going to rent it out, and it's going to rent for 4,500 all day.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
And tell us, so you were living in there, and how do you? So basically, it was house hacking, and I was
Yeah.
always curious about kind of how do you do manage that logistics of house hacking?
Oh man, having a very patient wife. We were
Ah,
walking on concrete floors for a minute. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Having a very patient wife was great. I mean, I would work 3 days at the fire station. I would come home and work 3 days at home. I'd go to the
yeah.
fire. It was a break to go to work to like
Ah,
maybe let my body rest for a little bit. So, it was a lot of work. I mean, I don't recommend it, but like I said, the fireman culture is I'm not going to pay someone to do that. I'm going to do it myself because we're very hands-on and detail-oriented. And that was a big
right.
thing with contractors that I experience now. It's really hard to find a good contractor that pays attention to detail. We're sitting here in this property that we had to renovate after the hurricanes here in Florida, and this is an Airbnb property. And as I'm going through here, mm, so I see a lot of things that me personally, like if I was the contractor on it, I would probably pay attention to that. But I always got to kind of gauge myself back a little bit because I do come from that culture. But yeah, to answer your question, it's a hard balance. But if you're just getting started, it's a good way to get started and force some appreciation, get some capital back without going out and leveraging private money lenders or hard money. And if you fail, the problems, if I failed, I knew if I had failed, if I took money out, which I pulled a HELOC out, which allowed me to now be my own, which like lender for doing renovations, things like that. Um, if I did that at the beginning, I would feel uncomfortable if I failed and then had to pay back a private money lender. It's just not something I was
Right.
comfortable with. I don't recommend it, but it's just the way I did it.
So I know you just mentioned a HELOC. How did you fund that first deal? Was it all kind of out of your own pocket?
Yeah, that was literally out of my own pocket. So we were saving up for a house at that point. We were
Yeah.
renting and got this deal or this home. We were able to buy pretty at a good price because of this situation or the condition it was in. But I had a little bit of nest egg saved up for like a bigger down payment or whatever. We put a lower down, use that for renovations. And our schedule was work 2 days on, 1 day off, or 2 days on, 4 days off. But I would always fit in a third day of overtime. So that extra day of overtime was always funding my next big leap. Like, all right, now we got to paint, we got to restucco the outside and paint. Okay, I just made sure I worked that third day. So forecasting out, another 2 months, or sorry, probably like 30 days when that project would come, I had the funds to pay for it instead of going in debt to do it.
I see. Okay, that's really cool. And now you talk about laying down the flooring and all that, AJ. My question for you is, when I look at kind of full teardown, that's a very ambitious project, and I'm not a handy person. I'm kind of a tech guy, I guess. Uh,
Yeah.
so when you first look at the project, did you already kind of go, yeah, I know how to lay down the flooring and paint. I can. I know how to do it, or I know I can learn it from YouTube or whatever and figure it
Oh,
out.
a lot of YouTube University. There's a construction. I mean, like I said, I grew up in a family that was very hands-on. So a lot of it kind of just comes natural, like common sense to me, just because I've seen a lot of it. But as far as like LVP flooring wasn't like something I've done before at that time. So yeah, a little bit of YouTube, a little bit of there's always someone in the fire service that has a second job that does This guy does electrical on the weekend. This guy does HVAC on the weekend. So I would leverage a lot of my relationships.
Oh, I love that.
Just kind of networking within the fire department.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Uh, I'm gonna share my my idea of home improvement or home project was there's a shower we have downstairs and the tiles were cracking. I go, what is that? It was kind of falling off, so I pull it off, and then I start seeing wood rot in the shower. I go, oh man, if I keep pulling, I'm gonna find more wood rot, and I might have to replace the whole bathroom. I'm not ready to do that, so I just let it dry out. I put the fan in, let it dry out, and I put some I think concrete boards, drill it in, and then just kind of put some tiles back on. But I actually didn't know how to put the tiles back on. I had to ask my brother-in-law to help me, who's more handy, and kind of finish that up and caulk it. But that was like, that was already too ambitious for me. Maybe just to
Shower is an ambitious thing, even a little repair like that, because there's so much to it. There's the backer board, there's waterproofing, and there's the tile.
Yeah, I guess it's called the backer board. So let me ask you this: if somebody wants to learn how to house hack or like kind of do all this, would you know what like YouTube videos that they should learn kind of just through this project? You can probably compile a whole list.
Yeah. It depends the scope of work. First of all, if you're house hacking, I do not recommend doing a full gut remodel. I don't recommend that. Even doing your first flip, I wouldn't recommend doing that. I unfortunately chose the harder path on a couple of them. It could be a greater win, but the risk is so much greater, just your time, energy, things like that. But yeah, I mean, if you get in YouTube, there's a couple, it's been a while since I've had to look at YouTube, to be honest, for construction stuff, but there's a couple guys that are really like, you can look at them and you trust what they say makes sense. Like there's a guy, I don't know his name, but he's out of Canada. So you'll start seeing a trend of like, there's 2 or 3 main people on YouTube talking like construction stuff. But I wouldn't suggest doing any YouTube for like electrical or plumbing. But if you want to do YouTube for like framing non-load bearing walls, or knowing how to identify what a load bearing wall is, like it goes in steps, right? Like, so first of all, if you're going to demo, you demo, and then you got to you got to have a plan first, but you're going to demo, and then, you're going to fix framing, and then you're going to go into the mechanics, plumbing, electrical, HVAC. Don't DIY those. Just hire those out. It's going to cost you more in the beginning, but if you cover it up with drywall and you made it's going to cost you way more to fix it. And then when it comes to like hanging drywall and taping and texture and stuff like that, sure, you can learn it, but drywall, you guys cheat, come finish it. So like you can hang drywall yourself, like watch YouTube on that to know where to put your seams. Don't put them right over like a door jamb because it's going to crack over time. Put it over the middle. But then when it comes time to tape and texturing, hire someone to do that. Guys will come in and knock it out in a couple days and it's done. They have the right tools, the guns with that beads and stuff like that. And then painting, like if you're going to paint, like that's an easy DIY thing, but it's even painting, like look at YouTube, look at just some tips and tricks for painting, because believe it or not, there's a way to hold the roller. There's a roller and then there's the bracket that goes in one side. Do you hold the bracket on the right or the left? So you want to lead with that edge. So it's just little things like that, because it won't create the lines in the paint. Just little things like that will create a better product. So it's always worth it to look at YouTube and kind of get some ideas of things.
I find, I want to agree. I want to say I agree with the tools. There are so many tools, and there are different types of tools, maybe different quality that you can buy too, and that in of itself is like quite a bit of research. But I will say that now that you've done it, AJ, would you say that you actually kind of mentioned it, is that when you look at a contractor's work, you would know if they are the high quality people that take it seriously, are you going to hire them again? Or
Oh,
even are you going to even hire them in the first place?
you know
Because now
what?
you have a trained eye to see it.
You're bringing up such a good point. Kind of what you're asking is, I guess another way to say is, would I do it different so I would gain this know-how now, or the education that I've learned? I wouldn't change a thing, because contractors are terrible. They'll take, not all of them. It's just hard to find the good ones. They're always busy and people don't want to share. They want to keep them to themselves. But when you're talking to contractors, they will take you for a ride on price. They'll say, hey, this needs a beam here, when it's not a load bearing wall. So they're just trying to get more work out of you to pay for things. I 100%. They'll put something in and you're like, no, that's wrong. It needs to do that. Like, it needs to go this way, because I know it's going to be a problem. And here's why. Yeah, it helps tremendously. Little examples even. We had a shower here that was clogged. It just from post construction. Everything's brand new in this house. So the P-trap under the shower drain must have got some debris in there from doing work. So we had to get Roto-Rooter out here just to clear the drain. And a guy walks in. This is like 2 days ago. Guy walks in his house, this nice kid. I knew he's going to take his auger in there. He's going to take the drain top out and he's going to put it down there and clear the debris. And I knew it was just in that shower, because that shower is the last exit before all the drains in the house exit the house. So I went upstairs, turned the tub on, took a shower in there, and downstairs, that shower, the water level didn't get higher. If everything was backing up, water would be coming out of other drains. So I knew it was just isolated to that shower. Dang, I got to get the guy here with the auger, put it in. It's like, it's unclogging a toilet. So he came in, he's like, okay, for everything, it's going to be, it was like $550, somewhere around there. I was like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're just going to take that little drain off, put your auger down there about that far, and clear it out and be out in and out of here in under 20 minutes, right? He goes, yeah. I was like, there's no different than this and unclogging a toilet that we just had unclogged at another property like 2 weeks ago for like $120 or something. He's like, no, it's the same. I said, I'm not going to pay anything over $200 for this. He did the whole sales thing. Let me go talk to my manager. He came back. He's like, okay, $200. I'm like, dude, we just got over $300 off because I actually knew what was going on, versus someone who has no idea. Say my neighbor, who's a kind old lady, would have made, I got to do what I got to do, and then paid the $550.
And I think, here we're bringing up a really good point of, do it yourself, or you want to hire it out. There's always that great debate is it better to do everything ourselves? No, not really, because you don't have enough time in the day.
Yeah.
But does it make sense to hire everything out? Also, not really, because now you don't. I would say a more ideal situation is, while we're hiring it out, we kind of learn the ins and outs, so at least we can call BS. Getting over quoted like that.
Yeah. So valuable to just kind of have a little bit of game in construction, so you can call that BS for sure.
Yeah. So let's switch gears. So AJ, you talked about so after that flip, you decided, I want to do it full time. And so we got a question here. Did you build that business from scratch, and how did you kind of do that after your first house happened?
Yeah, well, I was able to leverage that, use that on a couple other projects. Like I said, flipped house out in Baltimore City, which was another full down to the gut remodel. Did some stuff over in Texas. We got this one here in Florida, which is main house, and it's got 2 units next door. So this is going to be 3 Airbnbs. And that pretty much funded like most of all of this, but also it gave me capital to start going direct to seller and creating that vertical integration within the business so I can generate my own leads. And that's kind of, when I was shopping around, I was buying stuff. Typically it comes from wholesalers, right? And wholesalers, when I started learning what wholesaling was, I was like, man, these guys, most of them suck. Like most of them are honest. They don't know what a deal is, or they're just trying to, either they don't know or they're being dishonest because they need to sell a deal and keep their light bill on. I ended up buying a property from New Western. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about them, but they have a terrible reputation. And I got so irritated with that deal. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start my own direct to seller thing. So that's when it pushed me forward to I started pretty much doing it, like I said, from the fire station. I'll take a step back. I actually needed to get more capital. And I was like, how do you buy deals cheaper? Like get into it with lower entry. And then I found the Pace Morby sub 2 took me down the creative path, which done a bunch of creative deals too. But within getting into sub 2, this is kind of like back-to-back events.
Yeah.
I got burned a little bit by New Western, not burned, but just tired of like dealing with wholesalers just in general, dishonesty, New Western. So I was like, I'm going to do it. Started off with the cold call, triple dialer line. I dialed for about 20 minutes and said, I'm never doing this again. Said, wasting my time. So I actually started doing SMS from the fire station and started doing some wholesale deals that way.
So I guess your wholesale business was kind of built through SMS campaigns.
It started as SMS, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe tell us a little more. That's interesting.
Yeah, so SMS was just a way for me. First of all, I'm not gonna sit on the line and triple dial. Terrible. I didn't have the money to pay for cold callers at that time. So I was like, SMS, kind of like, I'll, do it myself. And I started doing it with batch leads. They had an SMS platform at that time. It wasn't great. Upgraded to launch control, and then launch control was good up until about a year ago when a lot of compliance stuff came out. Mm-hmm. Just started pulling lists, pre-foreclosure lists, tax default lists, absentee owner a little bit, but mostly like targeted lists like pre-foreclosure, just through batch leads initially. And was closing some deals through launch control. One thing I found on texting is a lot of people, when you send messages, a lot of people will actually call in. It's either going to be, 60% of the time, they're going to be like, F you, don't call me. Okay. Can't let that bother you. Okay. On to the next, but the other percentage of the time are actually people who are like, hey, I need help. And we've gotten, I'd say, probably 50% of the qualified leads that we'll get is people calling in. So you got to have someone competent on that line of the phone. You can't just put like a $4 overseas VA on it. I've tried it. It doesn't work. But launch control kind of went downhill. And that was my only lead gen at that time. November, I think, of last year, a bunch of SMS compliance stuff came out. Launch control, I logged in. They wiped out all of my templates, which are a lot of work to make. And no, it might have been 2 years ago. That's when the compliance stuff came out with SMS, launch control went down. Backed off from it. I ended up partnering with someone right at that time to start joint venture wholesale operation, and we were doing Facebook marketing. So this is going from outbound marketing now to inbound marketing. Realized we weren't really a fan of Facebook marketing because Facebook marketing is still kind of like outbound in a way that it's popping up on ads on people scrolling at night on their phone. And we get a lot of leads at night, and those leads are weak. They usually won't answer the phone or whatever. There's a difference when an ad comes to you or someone gets on the computer and searches, hey, I need to sell my home. We'll get to that. But to finish off on SMS, launch control went down. We jumped over to a new platform, newer at the time, Smarter Contact.
Right.
I still use Smarter Contact today. It's a phenomenal platform. We even went back temporarily to Launch Control because they said they fixed a bunch of stuff, and Launch Control has a little bit better automations built into it. And they were honestly, if they weren't honest, it wasn't doing what they said it would do. So we immediately pulled back and went back to Smarter Contact. And Smarter Contact, we're constantly seeing improvements with them coming out. So they're really good on the SMS side.
So basically, you're saying SMS campaign is a working channel for you for mass texting, and I think you have shown me that there is some kind of conditional setup depending on the response, which kind of campaign you route them to. So there's some sophistication in how you set up the campaign, and then you guys did Facebook ads, but that didn't work out. And I find the same. We have gotten deals from Facebook ads, but the quality of the leads are not necessarily that high.
Yeah. And you do have to spend a lot of money with Facebook ads. So just like you mentioned in the beginning, this market industry is just changing all the time. I mean, there's things that work today and in 2 months, they're not going to work. So you really have to measure things on a quarterly basis, and you can't stop too soon. You can't get 9 leads and be like, oh, this doesn't work. You have to test it for 3 to 6 months. So, and that's what we did. We tested Facebook leads for 6 months. And, I mean, we spent close to 30 grand on Facebook marketing, and it was just,
That's much more than I have spent.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a burner, but we've been there, done that. We tried 3 cold call. We took capital and threw it all at stuff at once to figure out we need to see what works and make it happen fast. So we tried 3 different cold call companies at once. I realized we don't like cold calling. Cold calling is called cold calling for a reason. It's called cold for a reason because the leads come in cold. The industry standard for a lead to come in to actually get a deal, if that lead is going to ever be a deal, is 6 months. So there's outbound marketing and inbound marketing. Cold calling, SMS, it's outbound marketing. We don't want to have all of our lead gen in one channel. I learned that mistake the first time when Launch Control shut down because my leads got turned off, and that's a problem. So now it's SMS to satisfy the outbound, and then I'm doing PPC SEO, which all, like Brent Daniels says, all roads lead to PPC and SEO. Like that is the ultimate best quality lead. But to get you there, to hold you over, it takes time to get there because it takes time for your PPC account to season, to start generating good leads. Google's always changing their stuff. SEO takes even longer, a lot of money, a lot of improvements. But in the meantime, you can use pay per lead providers, PPL. And there's a couple big names out there. So that's what we started using too after Facebook went away. We started using LeadZolo and Property Leads are the 2 best ones right now. You got to be careful with PPL because they're always changing. They're kind of dishonest in some companies. There's a lot of things people don't know. So PPL as a whole, there's PPL aggregates. So like leads, or a lot of people will bash on high speed to lead, but that's a company. But you have to understand high speed to lead is mostly like an aggregate. It's just a marketplace. They buy leads from other companies such as LeadZolo, and then they sell them on their marketplace.
Mhm.
Even Lead Zolo. So you can go into Lead Zolo and buy PPC and SEO leads, which is called their enriched web form leads. Those are like $200 a piece. They're expensive. Or you can buy cold call leads for like $15 a piece. But I signed up for Lead Zolo. It was great back when we first got onto it. They changed their bid platform. It got pretty weak. We jumped over to Property Leads. Property Leads is really good. They're mostly PPC and SEO. The refunds are fair. There's some things I don't like about them, but nothing's perfect. But the leads are more expensive. So you're going to be paying minimum $125 a lead per county. You can do statewide or nationwide statewide and nationwide leads for cheaper to get practice, to get reps, to build your sales skills. But it's going to be hard to get those deals across the finish line because a lot of times those are leads like out in the middle of nowhere and they're hard to dispo. So if you want to cut your teeth and get used to the inbound game, the inbound marketing, I would suggest using Lead Zolo. You can go into the marketplace. You can buy cheaper leads just to, because you're probably not going to close them. Say you're just jumping in and this is new to you, I would buy cheap leads, cut your teeth, and slowly get into buying more expensive leads. And that's pretty much what we did following the Facebook thing. We got cheaper leads. I'm constantly still building my sales skills. So that's pretty much, we went from Facebook to PPL. We're running PPC and SEO that's growing and building. But we're using PPL to kind of fill in the blank spots to keep leads coming in.
So what kind of leads volume do you have in your business now, and what's your your marketing budget today?
Yeah, I'll try to do it. Honestly, if we have leads that we're constantly working, I'm not going to order more leads so PPL, you can turn it on. You can make your account active. You can turn it off.
Yeah.
PPC and SEO is kind of, you get one a day, pretty much. That's what's coming in. And that's only like a $3,000 budget because I want to season my account. It's still new. So I want to season that, get some traction. PPL, I'm also spending about $3,000 there a month. And then SMS, it's $1,500 per quarter. So that plus we'll run a campaign. We'll download the data and run new campaigns every Monday or Tuesday. And then it usually runs around another $150.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're probably around $8,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as leads count, so that PPC is kind of one a day, pretty much. The PPL, if we're not getting enough leads, or if we got a batch of bad leads and I already put them in follow-up or disqualified them and I'm not looking at any fresh leads, well, I can go into Lead Zolo in the marketplace and buy some. And then I'll probably get like 3 at a time.
Yeah.
So as a closer, I think having around 5 quality leads that you're actively working at a time is a healthy.
That's a good metric. That's a good number.
Yeah. Any more, you start getting overwhelmed. Like when we had the cold call companies coming in, we're getting my partner on the back end, who we're not partners anymore. I split off. He's doing some other investment stuff, and I wanted to go back to being solo, full transparency. But when I was getting inundated with leads on the closing side, that was more frustrating than having no leads because things are slipping through the cracks. It's your marketing dollars are going through the roof, and you have so many follow-ups that these could be deals, but you can't even touch them because you have to do the first touch on new leads coming in. So if you have just 5 that you have to manage, like your span of control, like in the fire service, what's the span of control? As a supervisor, 3 to 7 is your span. 5 is optimal. And I think that kind of applies here. If you got 5 leads that you're constantly working, talking to, following up, great. If you don't have 5, you need to get some leads to get 5.
I like that. So you can have a good, like, that's basically your control.
Yeah.
Like, do I want to buy some leads, bring some in, or like, oh, it's time to kind of dial this down or shut it off because we have too many.
Yeah, it's like my thermostat kind of.
I have faced that too. I have and I I guess I kind of just dealt with it. I did not think as much about the how to control this. So I appreciate it. That's a really good. We have a question here from the audience. They ask, how does SMS work comparing to social media ads?
Social media ads, like Facebook ads.
Yeah, and maybe Twitter, X ads, or Instagram, all these other social media.
So Instagram and Facebook are meta ads. So those two, I mean, when we talk about Facebook ads, we're talking about meta. And then there's TikTok. And then like you can build your own brand and bring in leads that way through being active on social media yourself. That's different than paying for, like, you get copyright and make an ad or whatever on ads that pop up on your feed. SMS is outbound, Facebook, Meta, inbound. So like I said, it's not the best quality inbound, but they're still inbound. So they are different kind of conversations. It's usually outbound is, say you're talking to an absentee owner, just a retired landlord or something. You called me, you give me a number. You called me. Oh, you want to sell your property? No, not really. If you gave me my wishing price, okay, now you get an inbound lead that comes in, say through PPL, who actively went to Google, searched, sell my house fast for cash. Now they're asking for us. It's now I can ask, okay, great. What are you hoping to get for your property? So it's two different kind of conversations. This one has a little bit more animosity or drama with it. This one might have some drama, but it's, we're not bugging them. They came to us. So it's a different experience for sure. SMS, the upside to it is you can be targeted with your data. So if someone's coming in from PPC, there is a lot of people that are just like, yeah, I'm not distressed. My home isn't distressed. I just don't want to use a realtor, or I don't want to pay for realtor commissions. So they're trying to pocket as much money as they can. That's not a good lead. That's one that we just kind of like put in nurture, follow up, make them a ballpark offer, and we'll follow up with them down the road. But SMS is, you can pull pre-foreclosure data, eviction data. Actually, Real Estate IQ is game changer with the data compared to, say, pulling it off Batch Leads or PropStream. Night and day difference. You're going to waste your money if you're pulling it off Batch Leads and PropStream. You're so late to the game and you're missing so much that aren't actually being found by Batch Leads and PropStream. So that is the upside. The person you're reaching out to, they likely have to sell. So if they're in pre-foreclosure, their auction's scheduled, they've already done most of the things more times than not. Where loan modification, can't borrow money, so they have to sell. Now, you're going to be fighting a lot of other people who are still calling them. They're getting hammered by calls every day. So you have to find a way to set yourself apart, have a good tone in your voice, not too salesy. So you have to be able to help these people in certain situations too. It's just not like, hey, do you want a cash offer? There's a lot more, like I said, kind of drama to it. There's always something crazy going on. So a lot of people we talk to, even in pre-foreclosure, if they don't you have to be honest, like you can't be a dirty salesperson. Like if they really want to stay in their home, you know, they haven't done a loan modification, they have a bunch of equity, they have good income, they were just going through a divorce and one of them didn't pay the bill or and ignored it or something, then hey, I'm gonna refer you to my guy Antonio. He's a loan modification specialist. He's gonna take care of you. So I will refer people to get help for loan modifications, and then if they get to the point where they have to sell, well, then they come back and talk to me. So there is a difference there. The other difference is it's going to be cheaper. Cost per lead is always good. Cost per lead, like zoom out with all the marketing spend and everything, the cost per lead is going to be cheaper on SMS. Just keep in mind that kind of is a flawed metric because it should be looked at cost per deal. Like you can get 40 leads for an SMS and get one deal, or you can get 20 leads in PPL and get one deal. So, I mean, it really depends how you can perform on the SMS and who's operating it, to be honest, because I had a VA running it, and we have to switch some things up because after a little bit, it's, hey, we're not getting leads. And why aren't we getting leads? I go back and look, audit things, and I'm like, okay, here's why. So you have to stay on top of someone if they're running it. So we're redoing training and implementing some new things that won't let so many leads slip through the crack.
Yeah, I think that's very important too. Especially the moment you kind of step away from that particular piece of operation, how can you make sure your replacement can at least kind of like maybe 80%, ideally 100% of how you were operating it.
Yeah. Another big difference between, say, outbound versus inbound. Pre-foreclosures a lot of times have a time limit, but if it's a different type of lead, like a tired landlord or something, the first point of contact to them actually selling is much longer, like I said, 6 months, than a PPC lead that comes in and we potentially could get it under contract in 1 or 2 phone calls. And we're selling in 30 to 45 days following that. So the cash conversion cycle is definitely longer in outbound versus inbound. And to reiterate, if you're doing outbound, you definitely need to up your sales skills because you got to talk good. You got to sell yourself apart. Inbound, they're coming to you as long as you treat them good and have some game. You can get some deals.
Yeah, they're higher quality. Let me ask you this, AJ. When it comes to when you do outbound to foreclosures, do you find that the sales cycle is shorter, or it can still be long because some owners can figure out how to delay that foreclosure?
I would say most of the time it's still like 60 days.
60 days.
Yeah, because either in the beginning, if you reach them in the beginning, right when they get like the list penance, it's, hey, I'm not ready. I'm still going to try to stop this, save this, and do the loan modification. So a lot of times they're waiting on certain things. And you're just following up, helping them, or following up with them, or helping them with like special resources or something that they need. So the whole time, I mean, you're waiting, and then it's like, hey, they get the final notice 2 months later. Okay, now they got to sell. Versus if they have a auction scheduled for next Tuesday, Texas, then we'll do what we can to stop it. Usually we can get a 30-day postponement, but it's got to close. So I would say the sales cycle is longer if they're new into the process of the pre-foreclosure, and then shorter at the end.
What would you do to a lead? Let's say that there's not much equity. They just bought it maybe like 3 years ago, right? So there's not much equity on the property. And then from a rental standpoint, there's not much there. So even a sub-2 doesn't work. But does that
Yeah,
mean have to go to foreclosure, or is there other
there's a
ways?
lot of, we're actually I'm seeing a lot of it right now in Texas. I'm actually in the process of getting my agent license in Texas because of this reason.
Yeah.
So the new home market right in Texas it's like buying a new car, driving off the lot, losing a bunch of equity right away. And that's kind of what we saw happen. So sub twos always last. You know, we go cash, then we do novation, and then we do creative. So if cash won't work, retail won't work, all right, then we're going to look at sub two. Sub two, if the PITI, the full monthly payment, including taxes and insurance, is significantly more than a long-term rent, then it's a no deal. You can get really creative and say, hey, this will work for a homestead buyer, and I'm going to buy it and wrap it to a homestead buyer, but you're opening yourself up to a bunch of risk. You're putting that seller in a bunch of risk. There are, depending on the area, if it's not an HOA, there's a lot of co-living operators who would be interested in it. So if I get a deal and it's a sub two and it doesn't work, but there are maybe some creative paths to make it work, I'm going to reach out to some friends I know and say, hey, are you interested in this, or does this make sense to you? Because it doesn't to me. I mean, I'm in Florida right now, and up in Lakeland not too long ago, I signed a sub two to a guy I know, and for me as a rental, I wouldn't have bought it. It was the cash flow didn't really make sense, but worked for him. It was like a break even, but it was a good tax play for him. But if none of it works and they are going to foreclosure, like if they're in pre-foreclosure and if they're over, I think it's 32 or 37 days out, they can go to the bank and ask for a short sale. And unfortunately, it's going to be a short sale. The short sale process, you go to the bank, you have to say, hey, financial hardship, I got to sell this house. It's not going to sell for what it's worth or what the payoff is. Will you approve a short sale? And then their loss mitigation department will guide you through that whole process. But you know, that sometimes lately I've been seeing the banks just say, nope, it's too late.
Yeah.
No, and then they'll just foreclose and take the house and
Yeah.
sell it, or take the house and then try to sell it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That would be unfortunate. And unfortunately, sometimes they do go there, and there are investors that purchase at the foreclosures.
Yeah, I mean it sucks, but I'm seeing it a lot in Texas right now. A lot of the new communities actually.
Yeah. I'm seeing that too. So AJ, we got a question. Do you have you tried driving for dollars?
Yeah, actually, in my local town where I live in Orange County, I've been wanting to get a flip there, another one for a little bit. So I drove around. Oh, what really prompted me to do this is because I have a 2-year-old that just loves to scream. So I'll throw her in the car and we'll drive around sometimes. I'll give my wife some time to do her thing or whatever. But
Put her to sleep.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So in my local town, I did drive for dollars, but I didn't go anything further than that. I think it's a great way to build a list over time if you're really looking for a property in that area. I think the return on your time isn't worth it if you're trying to do it like on a bigger scale. You can honestly do virtual drive for dollars, like Deal Machine and Batch Leads both have virtual. I think Batch Leads I like Batch Leads setup. They have, you can do it on the computer, you can do it virtually or on an app, and you can even hire it. That would be a cheap VA job, a virtual assistant, and they can just Google Map if they have like a little criteria, like roof torn up, damaged windows, broken out cars in the driveway, weeds over 3 feet, then they could build a list for you. That'd be great. But I'm actually working with the homeowner right now, right around the corner from my house. There's a house I drove for dollars for. And coincidentally, he just inherited it from his brother who passed away. And this is a full remodel. So I've been talking to him the last week trying to get it.
And there's, if you're looking for tall grass, you can also get the code violation.
Yes. Yeah. So usually a lot of these properties, there's some other problem with them. They'll be likely to be on some other list. So like tax default, code violation, things like that. So, I mean, to me, it's just so much easier just to pull that list because you're catching such a major audience. Like, with Real Estate IQ, you buy the whole state and you're hitting the whole state versus, just a city that you spent forever driving for dollars,
I have done that just to learn the game.
Mm-hmm.
And driving around and kind of seeing what real life looks like. I never got anything from driving with dollars, unfortunately. But I did do the reps and kind of the practice, and kind of when you drive around the neighborhood, you kind of have a better idea. So that part I recommend. I think if you're talking about doing it on at scale, or just kind of a more effective way would probably be using a list. I would say. You get better coverage.
Yeah, but for sure, if there's a city like you want to buy in and you're like, this is it, and you need to know the area a little bit better, driving for dollars is perfect. Just huge for what you just said, just for learning the area, because you can go 2 streets over and it can be completely different price value. And that's not just for places like Baltimore. That is where I'm at. Like, I'm walking distance to the beach right here in the Main Street, but if I go 2 blocks that way, I mean, the home prices are going to be $350, $950. It's way different.
So AJ, I want to ask you this. You said that your first couple of projects was what gave you the capital to go, okay, I want to do this full time. From a funding standpoint, how do you do that? Was it through cash flow, the rental cash flow, or was it through like some kind of refinance? How did you kind of get it to a point where like, okay, I know I got a couple of, this many months of operating working capital, like I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, pretty much BRRRRs, like the BRRRR process. So our house that we did, the first one, renovated, refinanced, also did the HELOC. So I'm using my own capital, which also, being a PML, that's kind of a new thing for me. But yeah, so rinse and repeat. So same thing. Well, Baltimore, Houston, did 2 flips in each, or flip there, flip in Houston. Those were capital that came in. So, and then also the wholesale, that's keeping capital come in. And then this property, this 3-unit property that we're in, this was another, I purchased actually with a commercial loan through my credit union, Firefighters First Credit Union. Shout out, man. They're phenomenal. If you're a first responder, check them out. But bought it conventional and then just used my capital, renovated it, and then refinanced out.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have like 2 minutes left, so I'm gonna ask this one question. I think it can take probably longer than 2 minutes. When you were talking about estimated renovation, is there a formula? How do you come up with the rehab budget?
Okay, it's really hard to really get an accurate number. So when we're looking at, if I'm like actually doing the flip and I'm getting in there, like I am doing line items. Like I know flooring is going to cost and that's just from experience, right? I know flooring it's going to be $3 for labor and then probably like $2 to $3 for materials. So I know flooring is going to be $3 times by the square feet. So when I'm actually doing the project and it's my butt on the line and I'm doing my deep due diligence, I'm going through that line by line. And then just ordering cabinets, you can go like into anywhere. If you want to go to Home Depot or Lowe's, I don't order cabinets from there. I get local suppliers that are, contractor company. But if you just go into like Home Depot or Lowe's, they'll draft up like a free 3D design and give you the cost for it. Same thing for the bathrooms, So bathrooms are like $7,500 a piece in the investor world. If you hire a turnkey company for a homeowner, they're going to charge you 18 grand for that bathroom. So that was like a lot of cutting my teeth. But as far as like on the wholesale side, light rehab, make it simple, we'll do $25 a square foot. And then like a medium rehab would be $40 a square foot. And then a higher rehab would be $50 a square foot. And then if there's like a major thing that needs to be done, like a roof, well then, okay, we're going to add 10 grand. Or, okay, the AC all went out and it needs everything new. Okay, we're going to add 10 grand. And you just try to do the best you can to get close to it. And if you lock up a deal and buyers go through there and they're like, ugh, you estimated a $60,000 rehab, man, you missed this and this, it's going to be $100 grand rehab. Well, unfortunately, that's a conversation you're going to have a price reduction. But on our calculator that I use just to quick underwrite, it's 25, 40, and 55 for the levels of rehab.
Yeah, fantastic. So 25, 40, and 50 for a wholesale kind of, just a general scope. If you need to do a real rehab, then you need to walk the house, and then you got to go down each line item and come up with this.
Yeah. I mean, and if you have like a $1,500, let's see. Yeah, I mean, if you have like a 1,500 square foot house and it's a full rehab, like kitchen, bathrooms, flooring, paint, that's going to be $75,000. That's not including those other major components. Like I said, if you got to do a roof, just add 10 grand. If you got to do HVAC, just add 10 grand. If it's going to be a repipe or a rewire, well, then add 10 grand for each of them. But for the I'd say the drywall in, it's good on those numbers. Like $50 for a heavy, you're demoing everything and start fresh.
So it sounds like we could go a little bit deeper, a dive on that renovation side, AJ, along with a couple of other topics that we touched on today. And everybody just kind of look forward to the classes and topics that we'll be putting together with AJ. Our time is up. We're actually a little bit over. So appreciate you, AJ, for joining us today. And thank you, everybody, too, for staying with us this whole time. I hope you learned something.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. And thanks for having me on. This was awesome.
Thank you, AJ. Mm-hmm. Have a good day. We'll stay in touch.
See you guys.
Thank you.